Welcome everyone to the Super Speedway Kings, and tonight we are at Atlanta Motor Speedway for a interesting and fun race with these guys. This is the first time we've been with these folks at a mile and a half. So I'm Rick Souza with the IWM Broadcast Network, and I'm joined here in the booth by my co-host Jeff Neaney.
Rick, it ought to be a great race tonight. New track for these trucks and these drivers in this league anyway. And they've been out here practicing hard for the last half hour or so and getting in some good times. Brian Kimball and Rick Seabrans both 29.6 for the practice run. So we're going to see right now there's a few tracks out, or a few cars out on the track for qualifying. Dean Wilkinson and J.D. Crow just popped in 31-32, so a little bit slower than practice times.
Well, I think that this is their first time out at this track as part of this league, and I think that they're going to maybe not so much play it safe, but be more conservative with what they're putting in. So we'll see how it goes, and just want to put it out there right away. We've had some with every new release of software, there is sometimes some pain that comes with it. And we've got new software with updated software with our broadcasting platform, and we ask that you bear with us. So we'll help to take you through. Our tickers may not run as cleanly as they're supposed to. I'm not quite sure our driver information banners work, but we'll make the best of it and do our best to keep you up to date and informed.
That's always the challenge when you're running several different software packages to make a broadcast like this come together. And sometimes they're like people. They don't like talking to each other. So we have a few things lost in translation tonight. One of the things about Atlanta is it can race like a super speedway. So you will see some drafting tonight. You'll see some non-drafting going on. Talked to one of the drivers ahead of time, and he was saying that for the first 10 laps, it races like a super speedway. Then your tires go to heck, and things will spread out a little bit after that. So we'll see if that prediction comes true, but it ought to be a pretty exciting evening, I think.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, and I've turned a few laps here, and he's right. I mean, when you've got that brand new tire, you just stick and you can pretty much flat-foot it around for a good bit, but after that magic 10 or 15 laps, well, you need to begin to let off and back up your corners, and it's not quite the way it was when you first got on the gas.
Well, that'll make it interesting then, because the fuel window tonight is somewhere in that 29-30 lap range. So if they can get good tires for 15 and bad tires for 15, then it's going to split the race pretty evenly.
Well, we'll try to keep you up to date on what's going on with qualifying. That's Logan Helton. Hold on to it, Logan. Currently on the track.
Yeah, they are doing just one lap tonight for qualifying. Right now, Logan's in second spot, so he had a good run before he got wiggly there. Sebastian Marin's got the provisional pole right now, 31.712. So I think some of the laps that we saw in practice, probably roughly 2 seconds difference we're seeing. So they must have been getting some of those times in a drafting scenario.
Well, we've got a few drivers that have yet to qualify, but time will eventually tick away here. There's only about
15 seconds or so left,
yeah,
it looks like.
Just a few minutes left. So I guess a number of drivers have elected to not to qualify. So
yeah, the 60 truck is just sitting down there. That's the Brian Rainville truck. He just went away. So he just sat at the end of pit road, never did go out. And you're right. I think we've had 13 out of 23 that have qualified. The rest elected to ride at the back.
Well, we're going to start seeing the drivers grid up. We'll do our best. Hey, the ticker is working. We'll see how that...
All right. There we go.
Well, let's see if we can actually grid up Hey, look at that. Some things do work. Okay. So, Jeff, you want to take us through the grid?
Sure. Top 10 here, Super Speedway Kings at Atlanta. We've got Sebastian Marin in the 23 truck starting on the pole. Next to him is Logan Helton in the 63 machine. Next row, Gabe Butler in the 88 and Cody Niegels in the 6. JD Crow in 5th spot, fifth spot in the 5 truck. And then Eric Laurie in the 71. The next row behind them is Matt Swope in the 82, and our league director, Jimmy Crow Jr. in the 39 machine. Next row, P9, is Donald Stewart in the 78, with Everett Lane next door to him in the 24. And then we've got George Rincon in the 92 and Dean Wilkinson in the 55. That makes up your top 12.
Okay, so, well, just don't go too fast. So, in 13th, you've got Noel Coers in the 15 truck in 14th position. In the 4, you've got Rick Seabrans. In the 02 truck of Seth Groover, he's currently sitting in 15th place. Zachary Workman's on his outside in the 19 truck in 16th. James Mayer in the 95 is in 17th slot, and Zach Lima in the 22 is on his outside in 18th. Robert Rock in the 171 is in 19th position. Brian Rainville is in 20th in that 60. The 111 truck of Eric Fielder is in 21st, and Todd Siebels is currently in 22nd. In 23rd place is Randy Miner in the 101, and Michael Mello in the 00 is in 24th. Rounding out our field is the 25th place is the number 7 of James Mohan, and in the tail is Brian Kimbler in the 64.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier about the last 10 positions there, the guys chose not to qualify, electing instead to start towards the back of the field. Sometimes I wonder if that strategy works or not when you have so many guys that stay at the back.
So our race information to tonight, we have 90 laps, 2 quick repairs, unlimited tires, and 2 green-white checkers. The temperature is a balmy 65 degrees, a little chilly here in the south. No chance for rain, a little overcast, and a slight wind, 1 mile per hour. That will not be a factor.
It ought to be a good night for racing. We've got, I think, good conditions, no rain in sight, and pace cars are bringing them around, and we should be set to go green before too long. Pace car is off, and the green flag waves. 23 truck jumps out there. Sebastian Marin getting a good jump on the rest of the field. 88 truck of Gabe Butler pulled up right up behind him. They are racing it like a super speedway here at first, but that inside lane seems to have the advantage right now.
Well, here, unlike the other tracks, it's a mile and a half, and it's going to take some time to figure out what your best groove is.
Whoa,
reckon.
Right there, back in about 10th or 12th place. Several trucks taken out in that one. Looks like the 24 of Everett Lane there. He had to take a tow back to the pits.
Let's see if we can see just what happened here.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Crow in the 39 caused that one. He just came on the radio and took responsibility for that. Said he lit off on the gas, and when he got back into it, it just snapped around on him.
Yep, I think we'll see that right here. Yep. Unfortunately.
Sends the 92 right up into the safer barrier.
Yep, that's unfortunate.
And the 24 looks like he got the worst of it.
I think, George Rincon, Brian Rainville were all involved, unfortunately, in that incident. So here we are And I stand corrected, it was actually 94 laps tonight, not 90 laps. And we're already seeing, obviously, some guys who were involved coming down pit road.
That's our leader right there, Sebastian Marin, electing to give up that track position and come in.
I don't think it's just him. I think everybody.
No, look at that. There's a line. Yeah, a lot of guys coming in. That's interesting. Only 4 laps in, but they're going to take advantage of that opportunity to load up a little more fuel.
Yeah, no tires there, but basically for sure topping off that fuel tank.
Let's see. So that was lap 4. So now they should be going to probably lap 33, 32, 33 if we run green the whole way.
Yeah, I would love to think that we could. We'll just kind of see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. So little bit of a new running order now. Gabe Butler's in. He's going to be our control car in first, followed by J.D. Crow, Cody Nagels, Sebastian Marin slipped back to 4th place on that pit stop. And then you've got Eric Laurie, Logan Helton, Matt Swope, Don Stewart, Rick Seabrans, and Dean Wilkinson.
Yeah, so
out our top 10.
Those first 4 guys chose not to come down. So again, it's a different track for these guys, so different strategies. We typically see that on super speedways. Cautions come out very rarely, so if you do have an opportunity to go in, grab fuel, then there's an advantage.
Yeah, definitely. You saw some guys move up, gain positions there by staying out. Some chose the fuel option to give themselves a little bit more room to play, a little more room to make decisions when to pit if we go green.
All right, so while we're having this the lights are out on the pace car, so don't go away. We're about to go back to green. This is a Super Speedway Kings. They are sponsored by Wow Video Tours, FW or Fort Worth Screen Printing, and Over the Top Designs. We'd be failing in our job if we didn't mention the great sponsors that they have here that makes these leagues possible.
Absolutely. That 24 truck of Everett Lane we talked about, he came out the worst end of the deal on that last caution. He is still in the pits, so it looks like he is going to miss this restart. On these shorter tracks, you don't get as much time for your towing.
No.
And sometimes they're back to green again before you even get to service your truck.
Well, and hopefully he was able to have that quick repair checked before that incident happened. So
he just pulled out, so he is going to get back on the track at least before pace car is off now. So he's going to be probably almost a lap behind.
All right, we are going back to green here in Atlanta with the Super Speedway Kings. First time these drivers are on a 1.5-mile track, and already we've got 1 caution in the books. Lots of excitement expected.
Truck getting passed by the field. That didn't take long.
Yep.
Put him on several laps.
Dave Butler continues to show us the way. He's got the 6 truck behind him. That's Cody Nagels on the outside. You've got the 5 truck. That 5 is J.D. Crow behind him. The 071 of Eric Laurie.
Both lanes that are forming up pretty nicely right now. We're 2 laps into this next run, and the outside lane holding their own there. In practice, we saw these guys running 3 wide occasionally, and on this Atlanta track, that's pretty tight. It's it's about 3 lanes wide, so they can do it, but you really have to be on your toes.
Yeah, I can definitely see 2 lanes running side by side all night here. 3 lanes is kind of scary to me.
Yeah, I'll say.
Well, there are just parts.
Them.
There are just parts of this track that just narrows, like right here, coming out on that backstretch, coming off of turn 2, that just gets really tight.
Yeah, you'll see guys 3 wide maybe, but most of them, if they're smart, they're going to be lift. Somebody's going to lift.
Oh,
and
that was the 071 tagged the wall there.
Yeah. Fortunately, he gathered it back up and didn't lose much ground.
Now remember, the first 4 guys or so, they're on older tires versus the guys that went in and slightly less fuel, not much, but definitely a few gallons less. So we'll be expecting to see those guys to be first in.
Yep, right now that top 10 hasn't changed very much.
Nope, a couple swaps here and there, but mainly that's because of the push me, pull you effect of that outside line.
Yeah, you're right. There's a couple guys, Zachary Workman in the 19 truck and Noel Coers in the 15 truck, both, and Rick Seabrand's right behind them. All were back in the 13 to 16 range before that pit stop, and now they've moved up. So they probably gained 7-8 positions during that last pit sequence, and giving themselves a better chance to get to the front.
Well, here are the drivers to watch for that we're watching tonight is Sebastian Merritt. He's currently leading the points. Gabe Butler is currently in second. Les Levy is in third. J.D. Crow is running fourth. Noel Kurz is also in fourth, just they're tied points-wise, followed by George Rincon and Eric Laurie, Robert Jordan, Seth Groover, and Eric Fielder. That's your current top 10 in points that we're watching.
Not nearly as much changing position on this track as we were seeing last week. Last week at Talladega, we saw, I mean, we were talking about it on the broadcast that they were changing faster than we could talk about it. But right now, content to really just get in their line and run. You don't see a lot of lane swapping. There's a little bit every now and then, but not nearly as much as we've seen in the past. I think these guys want to just get used to racing each other on this new surface.
Well, let's make a correction too, Jeff. I was reading the results a little bit dated, so currently Sebastian Merritt is still leading. Zachary Workman is in second. Gabe Butler is in third. James Merritt fourth. Dean Wilkinson is in fifth. Robert Brock is in sixth. J.D. Crow is in seventh. Mark Mann in eighth. Todd Siebel's in ninth. And Seth Gruber is currently in 10th. Sorry about that, folks.
That's easy to do. One of the things I was noticing in the top 5, you got Sebastian Merritt and Zach Workman are really neck and neck.
A little bit of traffic. They just ran up on top of that 24 truck.
Oh boy.
Yep. He's trying to stay in that high line. He's
in a tough position because he's out of the draft, and when they gain on him, it's tough for him to join back in again.
Yeah, like all of these competitors in this league, he saw those leaders coming. He went up as high as he could, including a little bit of a kiss with that safer barrier there, and just held his line and stayed up high and out of their way. So.
Yeah, I hope that didn't damage his truck and he was able to get in and catch the draft and not go further down. We were talking about the points battle, and Sebastian Merritt and Zach Workman really neck and neck, only 3 points separating them. And then it's a bit of a jump back to Gabe Butler. He's 29 points out of the lead, And then he, James Mayer, and Dean Wilkinson are all within about 10 points of each other. So we got kind of two battles going on there right at the moment. We'll see if that gets shaken up this week or not. But that second place finish last week from Sebastian Marin helped catapult him up into that P1 position in the points.
Well, we are 18 laps in, about to be 19 laps in with the Super Speedway Kings here in Atlanta, and they are putting on, like they always do, a fabulous drafting and running too wide at this mini Super Speedway.
Just really enjoy watching these guys. They, we say it every week, but I don't think you can say it enough. They put on a clinic when it comes to Super Speedway racing. So it'd be fun to watch them at this track tonight because we have elements of the Super Speedway style. But then when the tires start to fade away, we were talking about it earlier. It hasn't happened yet, and they're at about 16 laps and still running. Everybody's pretty much the same speed. They're still running, neck and neck, bumper to bumper.
Well, we thank you for joining us here tonight for the Super Speedway Kings on the IWM Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Rick Souza, and I'm joined here in the booth by my co-host, Jeff Meany, and we're just enjoying what these guys bring every single week on Tuesday nights, and that is some great driving, some skilled drivers here running side by side here at this is the New Atlanta. So if you're not familiar with what happened here, so last year they decided that they were going to repave the track, give it a brand new surface, and in doing so, they changed some of the banking to make it a more progressive banking, and they fixed a lot of the bumps. They flattened some things out. They changed some angles and turned what was a worn surface into one of the fastest mile and a halves currently on the circuit today. And one of the great things about Atlanta was the real track was that they actually, NASCAR worked with iRacing to model the track virtually, had drivers and people test it before they built it, and then built it to the iRacing specifications.
That's fascinating to me, how they've been able to do that. iRacing, in its infancy was basically a game, and they've taken it now all the way to the other end of the perspective, and it's actually a tool to help build racetracks. So just phenomenal how technology has advanced and how people that love racing have taken advantage of that technology. About 10 laps, I'm guessing, before we start to see some green flag pit stops. We ought to start in the next few laps. We'll see guys positioning themselves. You see that upper lane has already diminished some. There's only 5 trucks in that lead pack right now on the outside lane. And people be getting down to that inside lane when they can in order to be able to pit when they choose.
Yeah, this would be a little bit different than what we've seen them do before at the super speedways. Getting on and off pit road is a bit more difficult here in Atlanta, especially with the higher speeds and getting in a place where you can actually slow down and come down pit road. So yeah, you're seeing the outer lane diminish a bit. They're migrating their way down to the lower lane where they can play a little bit safer. But we'll see how it goes.
We should start hearing some radio chatter in a little bit, guys talking about, pitting this lap, pitting this lap. You'll hear guys, these drivers tell each other on the open radio channel when they're going to pit so that the guy behind them does not get surprised when they have to slow down on the racing surface in order to get down onto that apron and get into pit road and stay under control and under the speed limit.
So the 88 of Gabe Butler continues to show us the way. He's got the 6 of Cody Nagels behind him, that outside line. He's got J.D. Crow on the outside, and behind J.D. is the 071 of Eric Laurie. That seems to be the story right now, and that's continuing to be the current order. things will change once we start going to some green flag pit stops, for sure.
Yep, that 23 truck of our points leader, Sebastian Marin, is currently in 7th spot. Just kind of biding his time, I think. These guys have not worried. They've been patient, not worried too much about getting to the front quickly. Just trying to kind of let everybody get settled in and see what their truck's doing, how it handles, and make sure they're there for the end. They say you can't win it on the first lap, but you can certainly lose it. And these guys just doing a really good job of being patient, taking their time, seeing what they have, what their competitors have. I just heard some radio talk about pits, so we ought to be seeing those coming up here in just a little bit.
All right, we're keeping an eye on the current leaders as they work around. That's 3 wide right there. Here we go, and there's, yep.
Man.
Well, that's exactly.
It looked to me like the 88 was trying to get down to pit road, and people weren't ready for it for some reason.
We'll go back and see if we can get a replay as to what happened. It looked like you're exactly correct. The 88 was coming down to pit road, and unfortunately, as I was saying earlier, it's different. You have got to bide your time, be smart with where your braking point is, because it's hard to get off the racing surface and down onto pit lane.
You see that green truck got up there in the 3rd lane, and you see the 88 down on the apron there. And that's where things got hairy. That truck up top in that 3rd lane knew it was coming. And so he got out of the way to give these guys room to maneuver to get down there. And there the 6 got hit from behind by the 63 and just sets everybody in motion.
Just backed it up just a little bit. I'm trying to find the right truck here. So you see the 88 drop down. They're out of the gas. 6 was slowing down. The 63 tagged him from behind, and they all just kind of piled up a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then it's just a chain reaction. Everybody's slowing down so fast you can't get on the brakes hard enough to slow down to miss them.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
all right. So a number of guys are on pit road. Most of these folks took an opportunity to come down and get fuel and another set of tires. A couple of guys who are still out that were part of an earlier incident. Jimmy Crow Jr. and Robert Rock stayed out. They pitted last on lap 3 or 4, so they're currently out there right now.
Yeah, Gabe Butler in that 88 truck was the one that he didn't really cause the issue, but he was at the lead when it happened. And he went in, took fuel, took tires, looked like he had a little bit of repair work done, but he's still a little bit of damage on that truck. And hopefully he can come out and run strong. He dropped quite a bit. I think he's back in about 15th spot right now.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good shakeup in the field. We'll try to go back and give you an update and see where people are falling out here. A number of guys have chosen to go back onto pit road, get a little bit more repairs done, maybe a bit more fuel, hoping for the next long run, and maybe we'll see another round of maybe we'll get in some green flag pit stops.
Oh, there's Jimmy Crow in that 39 truck down on the apron. Looks like he's coming to pit road, maybe? Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
I thought that was turn 4, but it was turn 2. He's just down on the apron. Oh, he's laps down. So.
Yep. So he's basically coming. He's back to the tail end of the field. That's pretty much how it is. Since he stayed out, even though he was laps down, he'll have to basically get to the end of the longest line. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's see where we're. The lights are off on our pace car. About to get these trucks back underway. running a 78 of, Donald Stewart is our control truck.
A lot of trucks in that inside line.
Green flag. Back underway here in Atlanta with the Super Speedway
got a
Kings.
good jump.
Yeah, that's Logan Helton on the outside there. And he's got Sebastian Marin behind him. Oh, contact.
Oh boy, 78. Oh, hard into that inside safer barrier.
They're still going, they're still staying green. I think Logan Helton was involved. Unfortunately, some damage on that 78 truck.
Don Stewart. Yeah, that's a shame. Running up near the front there, was having a good run.
There was something else with with Workman as well. Let's just kind of watch this through real quick.
Oh, looks like he got tagged from behind.
Yep, he was involved in that as well. That's the 19 of Zachary Workman.
Yeah, it looked like Workman tagged him from behind, got him loose in that 78 truck, and then he went up the track, came back down, and paid him back. I know he didn't intend to do that, but it's interesting how that happens sometimes. Nice that we stayed green, though. I like that.
Yep. So we're back to two-wide racing, except the outside line's a little bit farther back. It's Matt Swope is out there. Matt's got the, not sure what help he's got behind him. But your leader is Rick Seabrams.
Yeah, he's got that Ford truck running pretty good. He's getting a good push from the 23 of Sebastian Marin, our points leader. And that inside lane, well, I was just going to say it's well organized. Then you saw a lot of guys juking and jiving. I thought we were going to get a better second lane for him up there for a minute.
I think we're spreading out a bit. We'll see how it forms back up. Well, we're sitting here at lap 37 of 94, 58 laps to go. Rick Seabrams is currently your leader with Sebastian Marin in second, Ryan Rainbow in third. Logan Helton is in fourth. Noel Kurz is in fifth. Randy Miner in sixth. Dave Butler in seventh. Matt Swope is in eighth. JD Crow in ninth. And Cody Nagels is in 10th. And one of the challenges you face at a track like this is that it is so easy to go a lap down. One simple bobble.
It really is. You're absolutely right.
And these guys are so used to, in this league in particular, running some wide tracks with giving them lots of options, lots of lanes. Here they just don't have quite that flexibility.
Yeah, if you get a slow pit stop, or if you have to go in and serve a penalty, it's very easy to lose one lap for sure, and maybe two, depending on when you have to do it and how long that penalty might be.
Well, a good factor is, on average, laps here right now running about 32 seconds to come, or 30 seconds to come down pit road, get a pit stop in, even if it's just for fuel. It's going to cost you 40 plus seconds, and that's not even counting the time it takes to get back up to speed. You just saw the 60 tag the wall a bit.
There we go. Oh boy, I don't know how he saved that truck. Back in the field quite a ways. Can't see the number on it now, but and he had that truck completely sideways and was able to straighten it back up and keep it going straight. I'm not sure who that was, but driver did an amazing job there.
All right, Rick Seabrams continues to show us the way with Sebastian Marin second, and Logan Helton is in third. Matt Swope has made his way up a little bit further. He's now currently sitting in seventh position.
Good to see Matt having a good run tonight. He got snake bit the last couple times out here. just got into situations that weren't necessarily his fault. Just got caught up in somebody else's mess, and so far tonight, having a good run.
But outside lines trying to form back up. That's the 60 of Brian Rainville and the 5 of J.D. Crow, and the 071 as well of Eric Lowry. They were running that outside line earlier in the race.
Yep, we've got 14 cars on the lead lap right now. The last car on the lead lap is the 45 truck, Todd Siebels, and then Seth Groover in the 02 right now is in the lucky dog position, the first truck 1 lap down. But he's got some competition from 78 Donald Stewart, Zachary Workman, all 3 of those drivers being 1 lap down right now.
So how that works is if you happen to be 1 lap down, you're really racing the other guys who are 1 lap down to be ahead of them. So if a caution does fly, you get the chance to go around and catch back up to the rest of the field.
Right, get that lap back and be back on the lead lap and get yourself back in the mix. 44 laps. We're approaching halfway, not quite there yet, but been really relatively calm race so far compared to what it could have been.
Yes, the broadcaster's cursed.
Yeah, that's true. I should learn that, huh?
So what's your estimate, Jeff, as to where we see these guys were in basically around lap 30?
Yeah, about 34 was when it looked like Gabe Butler tried to make that pit stop and everybody got tangled up. So I'm going to guess probably lap 54 ballpark. So less than 10 laps from now, or about 10 laps from now. If we can stay green, we ought to see another attempt at green flag pit stops. I think we'll hear more chatter this time on the radio.
Bit more
rather than casual mention. Yeah, a little better coordination, and hopefully guys will be listening this time. I know they said it because I heard Gabe Butler say he was going to pit. And, so I know it was on the radio.
That's the 19 truck of Zachary Workman. He was unfortunately slapped by the field as he was going around, so doing his best to try and stay out there or just watching. I noticed that all these drivers are taking the edge. They're seeing that where that transition, where that apron is coming through the front stretch. They're all tagging that a little bit.
Yeah,
seems
that
to unsettle
19
the truck a little bit. So.
Yeah, the 19 of Zachary Workman that you mentioned, he was in that last incident and so got behind the field. I don't know whether he has a little bit of damage that's making it tough for him to match the speed, but he would have been at the back and lost the draft for sure. And then that's how the guys get up there and lap him, and hopefully he can stay with them this time around. Looked like he is.
So we are riding on board with Logan Helton here. We'll take a lap or 2 around the track. We'll see what Logan sees here. 180 plus, 182 miles an hour on the backstretch.
Yeah,
looking right down there on the line.
Input. Love watching those still.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. That's where you tied the corner of that apron.
Yeah, it can upset the truck and get you a little squirrely there. That was a great example of that.
So again, this is a league where pretty much the driver is in charge of his truck's setup, which means you don't just take what iRacing gives you. You actually have the ability to change tire pressure and camber and all the setups you would typically have the ability to do within, for the most part, a real truck. So each team or driver comes in with their own setup and takes an opportunity, and that's what you do. You race what you break. So.
I think that's what sets some of these guys apart. They've learned the intricacies of setting up a truck for their driving style, and it makes it so much more advantageous to them because they can get more speed out of a truck that maybe somebody that doesn't have all that knowledge, their truck's going to be a little bit slower because they can't quite tune it to perfection.
Well, again, you're watching the Super Speedway Kings here tonight at Atlanta. Super Speedway Kings is presented by Wow Video Tours for screen printing and over-the-top designs. We're very thankful to have those sponsors on board.
Absolutely. We appreciate them making it possible for us to bring you this race broadcast. Lap 52. Sometime in the next few laps, we're going to be seeing a green flag pit stop here. So I've been trying to listen to the radios and see if I hear anybody bring it up. We'll see if they ought to be coming here shortly, though.
All right. Lap 53. 53 laps are in the books with the Super Speedway Kings here in Atlanta. Rick Seabrans continues to show us the way. Rick's been on top of this leaderboard for a number of laps, pretty much since that last incident around lap 30. Sebastian Marin has been behind him. And we've seen that 5 car of J.D. Crowe on the outside.
Boy, coming through there, you see Sebastian Marin is tucked up close. He has to stay off that bumper when they go through the turns so he doesn't get Rick loose. But look at that, right up against him. He's probably only 6 inches off that back bumper. And then you see him drift back a little bit in the corners to give that 4 truck a little maneuvering room. The 5 and the 19 on that outside row. They're not going to pick this first group, it looks like.
This is the in car from Sebastian Marin. And he is tapping the back of Rick Seaman's truck all the way down that back stretch. Coming up to the lap car of 78. That's 78 of Donald Stewart.
Well, they passed pit road on to lap 56. They've got to be getting closer, I would think.
I think we should start seeing those guys coming out pit road any moment.
You know what? I made a mistake in my math. Tonight's a night for mistakes. It should be lap 64, roughly, that we start seeing them come in.
Gotcha.
So that was my mistake. Got to go back to elementary school and learn how to add.
What we are seeing is that 19 truck, even though he may be down a lap, he is up there pushing the 5 of J.D. Crowe and really is able to get his nose out in front of the 4 car. That's really a great battle at the front here between these 2 lines.
That really is. That's pretty amazing to see that that truck up there doing such a great job. He's not in 4th position, but he's racing in the number 4 slot right now and giving that 5 truck a good push.
He's getting a little bit of help too with the 78. 78's kind of come back up to the front, although again, those guys are at least 2 laps down.
It's nice to see both of them still in contention, though, as far as the ability of their truck to keep up with the rest of the field. They're able to ride with those guys in the front and be able to keep pace with them. And so if they can get their laps back, then they'll have a shot at it.
Oh, wrecking.
Yeah. Just as I was looking to see who was a lap down to see who could get a lap back, and that answer is Seth Groover in the 02 truck. Unless he was involved, he's up for the lucky dog.
Well, I saw Randy Miner was involved, Matt Swope, Brian Rainville. Let's see if we can take a look back and just see what we saw. So we see the 60 sideways. Let's try to go behind the 82 of Matt Swope.
I wonder if the 60 truck got his left front hooked down over that red and white line.
I think that's exactly what happened. So let's let this play out real time. If we back it up, we will. Easy to do right there.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a transition between the apron, although there is some progressive banking here. there is a transition from the racing surface to the apron, and as you could imagine, it's not the same, and that's going to upset the truck at 170 plus miles per hour. And unfortunately, the 60 truck began to spin. Unfortunately, it may have collected the 82 and the rest of the field.
Matt Swope once again caught up in somebody else's mess. I feel bad for him.
Twice, actually.
Yeah.
Twice.
At 60 going in reverse there, it looked like. Well, our leaders are on pit road now. Let's see what their pit stops look like. Getting right sides on the 5. Let's see if he gets left sides as well. I'm guessing that he will. Yep. So all 4 tires for JD Crow. Tires and fuel.
Yep, definitely. It was, although it was short. Now, interesting, here we are. There's 34 laps to go. After we peel off a few laps here for this caution.
Yeah, that 78 truck was within inches of getting another lap back, but the 4 got out in front of him. Well, it looks like the 23 did as well. Or did he stay out?
23, no, he came in. So did Rick Sebring.
Okay.
So pretty much your top 11 came in. Well, the entire field except for some of the lap traffic. So we'll get an update as to who was in and who was not in just a moment. So here's what we do know. 61 laps in the books for 94. That leaves us with just 33 laps to go. The lights are off, which means we'll be going back to racing and lap 63, which means we'll have 31 laps left. You can't go 31 laps, can we, Jeff?
Boy, that's going to be close. They say 29 to 30 laps on fuel, but if these guys if in a super speedway mode, those guys that are, running second, third, fourth, fifth, back in the pack just a little ways can be off the gas some. And the 2 guys in front have to stay full throttle, but the guys behind may be able to save enough to get a lap. But something tells me we're going to have another caution shortly before we get to that white flag.
Well, this is our 3rd caution of the night. And really what we've seen so far with the cautions that have occurred is pretty much the same. A little bit of getting hooked when your truck gets a little upset when you're sliding down the racing surface and catch that apron at that white line.
That is so true. Some of the guys were during practice were testing that, and I heard on the radio one driver reminded them that on the front stretch that is out of bounds to go down there. So they're staying away from it, but some guys are getting a little too close.
All right, we're back to green flag racing here in Atlanta with the Super Speedway Kings. Race being brought to you by the IWM Broadcast Network.
Sebastian there, great jump there. Interesting thing, I know I bring this up every week, but it's because it's a real testament to his abilities. The 23 is leading this race. He's also our points leader, and he also has one less race under his belt this season. So he's leading the points, even though he's at a 1 race disadvantage.
And that would be Sebastian Marin. So again, you're watching the Super Speedway Kings here on the IWM Broadcast Network. If you are watching us, if you could like or follow whichever platform you're watching this on, YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, and follow along. So you'll be updated each week with what we do here on Tuesday nights with the Super Speedway King. And also we've got an event coming up on Sunday. We have got a 500-mile event with these drivers, and so we'll get you up to date on what's happening with that event further in the broadcast.
We saw an interesting strategy move there with that 23 truck of Sebastian Marin. We were just talking about. He was handily in the lead, had no problem maintaining his pace, but all of a sudden he went clear up to the wall, let guys go past him, and then drop back down. He's about that fourth car back on the inside now, and I'm guessing that's a fuel saving strategy.
Could be.
He'll ride back there for a while and see how much fuel he can save, how much off the throttle time he has, and maybe have enough that he does not have to pit and get back out of the lead. We'll see if that plays out. 5:15 truck doing a great job of trying, just kind of battling it out. They're getting ready to lap Matt Swope there in the 82. Hopefully he can get back in the line there and get a push from somebody, or tuck in behind somebody and not lose the draft again. He finds himself 2 laps down now. Todd Siebels is our first truck a lap down, so if there is another yellow, he'll be the truck eligible for the lucky dog, get back onto the lead lap. Several trucks that are 2 laps down. One is 3 laps down, and that's Matt Swope. He just, when he got past there from the lead, that put him 3 down. And from there back, it gets pretty significant.
All right, so just to update you, so on Sunday, November 20th, the IWM Broadcast Network will bring you the Ryan Sadusky Gobble Gobble 500 at Talladega, and you'll see many of these same Super Speedway King drivers in this event. Race will start at 3:30 Eastern Time, that's 2:30 Central. The drivers will be on the track starting at 1:30 Central. So what you're seeing here, Jeff, is these guys have just decided to come in because they've got a short pit. They've got to get their that fuel in, so they've got enough to make it.
Yeah, that 5 truck of J.D. Crow decided, I know I can't make it to the end, so I'm going to get it now. And
well, he's not alone. You've got the you got Gabe Butler and Eric Laurie have all come in. Unfortunately, that 071 truck wound up a little bit sideways in his pit there.
Oh, looks like he was legal.
Oh,
whoa,
Seth Groover came in sideways. The 101 came down through the grass. That may be
guys locking them up. Yep. They're finding out that green flag pit stops are tough. It's tough to come off turn 4 and get woed up enough to get down pit road.
So that has shuffled up the order, and you're seeing the 82 of Matt Swope out there. He is trying to get his lap back.
Yeah, Matt is praying for a caution right now. Get one of those 3 laps back.
Yep, he's 2 laps down currently. He's on the ticker. Noel Courage is currently your leader, followed by Rick Sebring, Sebastian Barrett, Logan Helton, Cody Nagels, James Mayer, and Robert Rock.
Yeah, all 4 of those trucks that you see out front right now are down a lap or 2 laps or 3 laps. So it's, boy, this has really shuffled things up. Now we went from 1 truck a lap down to we now have 7 trucks a lap down. That'll change as people decide they need to make pit stops as well. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. This has really shuffled things up.
Well, with 21 laps here to go, you've got a number of guys who have came down on lap 70, lap 69 to try and top off that fuel to make it all the way. And these other guys, some of them are basically betting on a flag.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're see if I can take a look further back in the field to see where some of these other guys are running. But there's track is big enough, it's hard to see them all at once.
Pretty much everybody's running together, and based on our track map, we can see that the 101 and the 071, that's 101 is Randy Miner. He was involved in that last incident, and the 071, that's Eric Lurie, are unfortunately running by themselves and will be in danger of being run over by this pack if they can't catch up or get a little bit of help.
Yeah, the 101 of Randy Miner's 2 laps down. That other one, 71 truck? 071 of Eric Lurie.
Yep.
Yeah, he's 1 lap down, and I have a feeling he's going to be going 2 down here pretty quickly.
So some great racing here in Atlanta with the Super Speedway Kings. We've got 19 laps to go. You're watching the 82 of Matt Swope getting some good camera time. He's actually 2 laps down. But our leader is right behind him in that 15. That's Noel Kurz. And we've got the 02 behind him. That 02 is Seth Gruber, who is also, I believe, a lap down.
Yep, the second position is that Ford truck of Rick Sebrin's. I'm not sure if we can tell. There we see him. He's about 4 spots back in that inside row. So that's your P2 truck, that blue one right there.
I think the majority of that outside line, the 78, the 19, 5, and the 88.
Yeah, all those guys are not running.
Those are all a lap down.
Yep.
Well, the 15 of Noel Kurz came down last on lap 60, along with the same with Rick Sebrins, Sebastian Marin, Logan Helton, Cody Nagels, James Mayer, Robert Rock. All those guys came in on lap 60.
We're seeing Matt Swope out there in the 82 truck, even though he's not in first place.
No, but that's actually really good for Noel Kurz. He's got somebody who's actually, he's behind. He can save a little bit of fuel versus having to push all that air himself. So 15 laps here to go with the Super Speedway Kings here in Atlanta. Noel Kurz continues to show us the way, but we're expecting at least potentially a need for some of these leaders to come down onto pit road and get a splash of Sunoco fuel to be able to make this race. That's the 101 truck on the outside like we were talking about earlier. This group has caught up to him, just blinking there for a second. That's the 101 of Randy Miner. Oh, that's the 78 dropping down in front of the 82 of Matt Swope. All of these guys are laps down, and you've got the leader right there on the inside. That's the 15 of Noel Kurz. And a spelling, it's got a correction. It's Noel Kurz. Noel Kurz. Well, Jeff, I think we've got a headset issue. I'm not sure. I can't really hear you right now, but get that fixed.
Did that fix it?
That did fix it. Welcome back.
All right. Sometimes these things come unplugged. They don't work well when that happens.
Well, we've got 11 laps here to go. It is dicey here up at the front between a mix of leaders and lap trucks here. As I was saying,
yeah,
it's Noel Kurz who continues to show us the way around.
And you got the 4 of Sebrans right behind him on the track now. So those guys have their own battle going on for the top spot in this race. And with 10 laps to go, it's just going to get dicier each lap now. I think we're going to see more movement, more lane changes, more side drafting. Anything these guys can do to gain a spot, they're going to be trying. You can tell that 15 is going to be driving with his rearview mirror right now, trying to keep that 4 truck behind him.
Right now, what's showing them the way is the 19 of Zachary Workman. Zachary Workman is just 1 lap down, so he is also trying to get his lap back, and he can if there happens to be a caution that may come out.
And some of those guys have gotten their lap back. I'm not sure how that happened, but
well, they're out in front of the leader.
Okay, I gotcha. I can't see them from here, and my track map is not working on my system for some reason.
Well, 8 laps to go. Noel Kors continues to show us the way. Rick Seabers is in second. Sebastian Marin is currently in third. Logan Helton is in fourth. Cody Nagel's in fifth. James Mayer in sixth. Robert Rock in seventh. Gabe Butler is in eighth. J.D. Crow in ninth, and Seth Gruber is in 10th. That's your top 10 with 7 laps here to go. We're watching both the leaders, which are actually about 6 cars behind, and we're watching the guys who are currently up there up front. That's the 88 of Gabe Butler. You've got the 19 of Zachary Workman.
Oh, a couple cars coming to pit road. They decided they weren't going to risk it.
That's going to be the 78 of Don Stewart and the 82 of Matt Swope, who just dived down to pit road.
Those guys will take a splash and go and get back out. Probably not lose much in the way of positions. Matt won't. He's the last car 3 laps down, and the next position.
Oh, contact.
Oh.
There was the 15 tag in the back of the 19.
Oh, and took out the leader. Oh, man. 15 started that one, didn't he? And he ended up getting the worst end of that deal. That's a shame for Noel Kors.
Well, let's go back and take a look at what caused that yellow flag here. It's that 4th caution of the night. Try to back that up just a little bit and get a better shot at that. You know, again, it's flirting with that, with the apron, with that, you know, just below that racing surface. It is a challenging position to be in.
Yeah, it looks like he lifted when he got down there.
He may have been lifted to try and get down on the pit road. Unfortunately, you're going to see a number of drivers who were involved. So contact with the 15, the back of the 19. Looks like the 19 may have gone down or pointing on to pit road. The 15 then corrects it and comes back up, but unfortunately, he's at a reduced speed. That's the 23 who tries to avoid him, goes up and contacts the wall. And then you've got the 101 truck who slams in the back of the 15, and the 23, which is Sebastian Marin, tags the 15 of Noel, and it's on.
Yeah. Well, those guys, great evasive maneuvers by those 3 cars that got by there. And then Noel Kors was damaged badly enough that he had to take a tow back to pit road. He's still undergoing that tow right now.
So I'm not sure we're going to get back on with enough laps to continue this.
Take us to a green-white checker, you think?
Looks like it may wind up in a green-white checker. We'll see what happens when we come back around. If we stay yellow on top of the pace car, then it'll be time to go back to a green-white checker.
Well, the 4 of Rick Sebrans did a great job missing that melee because he was right behind the 15 truck. And he got out of the way, and that put him into the lead. Unfortunately for him, that let everybody else catch up as well. So it's going to be a good battle here at the end. We've got 10 trucks. Our top 10 are all on the lead lap, and they're going to be in those first 5 rows. So this is be an interesting battle.
Yep, the lights are off on top of the pace car. I think this caution was very timely for these guys. If you didn't have enough fuel, I think this certainly helped your fuel strategy.
Yeah, for sure. If they can get it done in one green-white checker, they should be good to go.
All right, that puts Rick Sebrans as our control car. We're about to go back to green with just 3 laps in regulation to go.
Yeah, we see Cody Nagels in second spot, followed by Gabe Butler. Gabe made his way back up there again. Great recovery for him. He got caught up in that one wreck where they were trying to go to pit road under green. But he got his lap back and got back up into that lead group. J.D. Crow is in 4th spot, Seth Gruber in 5th, Sebastian Marin, our points leaders, in 6th, Logan Helton in 7th, Robert Rock in 8th, James Mayer in 9th, and Eric Laurie rounds out the top 10, and they are also the only cars on the lead lap.
All right, we're about to come back down and green flag here at Atlanta. Last 2 laps here, 2 laps to go.
6 got a good jump. Got out in front there a little bit. We can get a good,
Yep,
23
3 wide. We are 3 wide.
Sebastian Marin thought better of that and dropped down into that second row, which is now the middle row. Trying to push himself up to the front.
Oh, there's already a wreck going on behind them. Let's see if we stay green.
Whoa,
we stay green. He held it. Whoa, don't come.
Yeah,
he safely made it back up to the racing surface.
Wow. How did he do that?
I don't know. The 6 of Cody Nagels continues to show us the lead. He is surrounded. Contact. I think that's the 63. A lot of contact going on.
Give and take is out the window. It's all
Sebastian Marin's
now,
coming right now.
Left.
Sebastian Marin is your winner.
My. And he almost loses it going into 1.
A lot of contact behind him as they cross the line. Let's go back and look at that. Rewatch the finish of this race. That's the 23. Sebastian Marin. '63, and I think the 6 of Cody Nagels will finish in 2nd place. And the 23 of Sebastian Marin is right now setting a little smoke show, celebrating his victory.
There comes the 63 to celebrate with him. That's Logan Helton.
Well, that was an exciting race. This is the first time we've seen this league here at something other than Daytona or Talladega. This was their first foray outside of those two tracks, and it certainly proved to be interesting.
Boy, it sure did. I thought we saw some great racing. Saw patience at the beginning. A few little mix-ups along the way, but really good racing. And then got down to the end, and it was Katie bar the door. I mean, everybody was moving every which way, and guys trying to win, guys making great saves when they get punted. Just a very, very exciting race.
Absolutely.
We're not going to be able to get these guys to the broadcast booth because they're going to sit out there and do donuts all night.
All right, we're just watching them put down some tire marks all over this Atlanta track.
You can see there the top 10 all finished on the lead lap, and then from that point on, in 11th spot, Zachary Workman in the 19. He was 2 laps down. Several guys there 2 laps down, 3, 4, 7, and then it drops way back. Brian Rainville in 18th spot, 36 laps down, and those guys just probably ended up with too much damage, and they ran out of quick repairs.
All right, so I think we've been able to get the drivers in the booth. Let's just bring in Logan. Logan Helton, congratulations on your P3 finish.
Thank you very much.
It's an exciting finish here.
That was a lot of fun there, racing with Seabass, Cody, Rick, all those guys up there. It was really tricky there. I probably shouldn't have pit, or I could have had a better chance to win the race, but well, I just wanted to make sure in case we get another green light checkered, I could make it on fuel. So I took as little amount of fuel as possible to keep the truck light, and I took right side tires that give me some more grip there, and it seemed to come into handy.
It sure did, especially as we saw you guys going 2 and 3 wide during that last lap. So what is your thoughts here? I mean, Atlanta, this new Atlanta is a trickier track than what it was before.
I definitely think older Atlanta was trickier I think they're both tricky in different ways, but it's just really hard to explain. It's like this Atlanta is easy, but it's tricky in a way of getting through the pack, if that makes sense. But old Atlanta was by far more skilled. Like, you needed more skill to be able to run fast and competitive around it. So I personally enjoyed old Atlanta, but I 100% understand why they needed to repave it. I just personally wish they went in a different route instead of making it a super speedway. But you know, I mean, it's entertaining in real life. It might be entertaining for the wrong reasons, but I mean, I can't blame them for wanting to make it more entertaining. So we'll just have to learn how to run this track a little bit better. And pit stops were the number one thing I noticed tonight that was an issue.
I think that and getting off the racing surface with your left front was a no-no, and a couple of drivers got bit by that for sure.
Yeah, so the number one issue I saw with the left front getting off the track was mainly just in the trial, or in the quad oval, I guess it's called, and that was just hard to avoid because with these trucks, with how high the spoilers are and stuff on them, it's hard to see in front of you. So I know there's a rule about it, so but I hope it's a little lenient because we didn't gain any advantage
right
going underneath there. But yeah, just pit stops, again, just the main issue, and it's very easy to fix. Just the second lane's got to move up a little bit whenever people call out their pits.
Gotcha. Any shout outs for tonight?
Just thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to Nexus Esports. Thanks to Splashville Graphics for making this beautiful paint scheme. I'd like to thank everyone that was in the chat tonight. I forget who's all in there, but I know Seabass, Rick, Jim, and Cody, guys like that were all in there, and I think Zach Workman was also in there. But just thanks to all of them and my friends and family for watching, and the Coca-Cola and pizza I had before the race.
Okay. All right. Congratulations. That's your
superpower.
That's it. All right. That is your third place finisher. That was Logan Helton. Let's reach out to Cody Nagels. Cody, welcome to the broadcast booth. Congratulations on your P2 finish tonight.
I appreciate it. Got a little interesting with fuel strategy there at the end, I think, but the finish was good.
It sure did. Yeah, there's a lot of debates, including with you, just to try and see if were you gonna pit? Did you have to pit? And I'm guessing you were playing fuel strategy and mileage those last 30 laps.
Yeah, so I've not hit all the races. I think this was like my third or fourth on the season, whatever it's been. I thought, well, I have nothing really to lose if I run out of fuel, and I knew it was going to be close depending on what I could save, but it was looking like I was going to end up being about a half lap short, maybe about a third of a lap short. So my thought was, if it stays green, I can just put it in neutral and coast. But I was chatting with Jim Mayer because he had a tenth of a gallon more than me, and I said, well, at this point, just a handful of laps left. I said, let's back it down and just try to save that little bit so we won't run out. So let's back it down to like 165. And we started doing that, and about that time is when the wreck happened. So not sure if we would have made it to the line without running out, but I do think we could have made it by coasting, and that was our plan because mostly everyone else pitted, which if I was running for points, I would have done the same thing, but really I had nothing to lose, and I knew I was going to be close, so figured it was worth the gamble, and it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think only yourself and Rick Seabrans chose to stay out after pitting last around lap 60 or so. So, yeah, it was definitely close.
Yeah, Rick ended up running out right as he crossed the line. I had 0.3 of a gallon more than he did, so I had enough to go around one more time. Both of us couldn't have made it had we had one more caution, so I was really hoping we could take that white flag, and at that point, I knew Seabass was going to try to win it. I'm glad. Thank you for pushing me, Seabass. But I figured as soon as he got himself clear, he was probably going to go for it. And as soon as he did that, I knew my only option was to go down with Rick. And my truck was sliding. My right front was burnt. I know Seabass, he was in the same predicament. Logan and I made contact. It was pretty wild there at the end. But glad we all saved it and were able to get a clean finish out of it.
That's great. Any shout-outs you'd like to make tonight?
Yeah, of course, I want to give you guys a shout-out. Thank you for all you do broadcasting the race. I'd like to thank everyone that I ran with tonight. Seabass, Zach Workman, Jim, Rick, Logan. A lot of fun running there. And I'd like to thank my parents for always tuning in and watching my races. A lot of fun, and it's been a little bit since I've been in victory lane, or at least it seems that way, but I've been stringing together a lot of good podium finishes, and I'm never going to be disappointed with that.
Absolutely not. Well, there you go. That's your P2 finisher. That is Cody Nagels.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, Jeff, let's see if we can get Sebastian Mayer. We've spoken a lot this season with Sebastian. Let's bring Sebastian into the booth and congratulate Sebastian on your win tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
There was a lot. We saw you at multiple times throughout this race. You were up front, you're back in the pack, involved in an incident here and there. This is an interesting track for your league.
Just being this track, I kind of knew the track position was going to be really, really important. So I put it on pole, and the plan was to stay out front. It seems like we still got to get used to pitting under green flag. Many people aren't used to that around here, so that's something we got to get used to. So got involved in a wreck there late, trying to save fuel to make it to the end. And when I got involved in that wreck, it kind of stacked everybody back up, and I ended up with with so many cars being stuck a lap down, I ended up still being in the top 5, and I ended up pushing my teammate for this race, Cody, to the lead. And at that point, it was 4 of us that were working together out front. So I decided to take him 3 wide, coming out of turn 2, and just kind of race for ourselves. So grid turned out the way it did for me. But man, it got a little wild, especially with those old tires on the trucks. They were not handling particularly great.
Well, we saw that incident that you were involved with was, again, it looks like a driver trying to get down onto pit road, and at that transition from the racing surface to the apron, it'll unsettle these trucks quickly.
Yeah, the main issue is more whenever people say they're pitting, the guys up top gotta give the guys in the bottom a chance to come up, right? So they don't run over the guys that are pitting. because since the guys in the pack are running so much slower than the guys leading, they could have maybe a lap or two more than fuel, so they don't want to pit right away. So that's usually what happened. People would end up pitting, but some guys were stuck on the bottom that didn't want to pit, but they had nowhere to go. So when they hit the brakes, they just had nowhere to go but to rear end everybody. So, it's people will get better as we get used to this track, but at least we had, I guess, a decent end to the race, so that was fun.
Yep, absolutely. So go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry, Rick. We saw you play out a fuel strategy on that last long green flag run. You were up front. I think you brought us to the green, but boy, about 2 laps in, you moved up clear up to that 3rd row, let guys by, and then tucked back in maybe the 4th row or so. Was that to just try to save enough to the very end?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It was going to be close, and just by what my teammates were doing, since they were already at the back, I decided to go back there with them. Having those 2 laps out front did hurt me a bit, so I was trying to save a bit extra more than them. And I don't think I would have made it to the finish line on fuel, but I think our shot was going to be that those guys that pitted were going to be so far back that we could probably coast our way to the finish. So that was kind of the gamble that we were going to take, to see if we can coast around before the other guys could catch us.
Gotcha.
It worked for you.
It sure did. And Jeff, your mic is super low right now. I can barely hear you.
I don't know what's going on with it tonight.
No worries.
Sorry about that.
Well, we've had a few technical difficulties tonight, but Sebastian, congratulations on your win. Another
Great
win
win.
here. We've been really enjoying watching you drive. Any shout-outs tonight?
I'll give a shout out to my teammates for tonight's race: Rick, James, Logan, Cody. We're just having fun racing with each other. Being Atlanta, knowing that it was going to be a relatively small field because it is a new track and some people aren't used to it. And I'll give a shout out to you guys for putting on this broadcast, and a shout out to Jimmy for putting on this league. It's been a great season.
It sure has. All right, that's your winner, Sebastian Marin, here at Atlanta.
Congratulations, Sebastian.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right, I don't see Jimmy around right now, so Jimmy may have taken care of some other paperwork.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has to do. So let's cover a couple of things. So next week, I'm guessing we are back at Talladega. That sounds right to me, but
sounds right.
we'll have to
I
double
don't think
check.
They haven't on the schedule yet. I can take a look here real fast.
But
No,
just
they
to
don't have next week up yet.
So we'll double check. My guess is that we'll be back at Talladega next week, and for Sunday, that is this coming Sunday, November 20th, we have starting at 3:30 in the afternoon. We've got a 500-mile event with pretty much these guys from Super Speedway doing Talladega. There is money on the line. It's a money race there. It is a charitable race that they do each year. This is the second time they've done that. And
hey, Jimmy just jumped in with us too. He could tell us all about it.
Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Just got my internet back on.
Oh wow. Well, I think we've all been bit by a little bit of the internet bug tonight, but glad to have you back.
Oh yeah, I hope the guys had fun tonight. Yes, this coming Sunday is the 2nd annual Ryan Sadusky Gobble Gobble 500. We will be going green at 2 Central, 3 Eastern, because we got 3 heat races with a little money on the line, and that will set the grid for the feature, the main 500. So it should be a lot of fun, good race, a good cause, and hopefully we put on a good show for y'all.
So I count 43 entries. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Full field. No one goes home at the end of the heat races. We're just doing it to set the grid and also give the guys a little warm up before we get in the big show.
That sounds great. We're looking forward to bringing that to you. We'll have a full complement of broadcasters in the booth, as you guys work your way around Talladega. And next week, where are we going to be next week?
We'll be at Talladega and then at Daytona. We're getting close to the end of the season. This was race number 9, so we're on the home stretch. It's flying.
It sure is. It's been a heck of a season watching you guys go. This was a challenging track for your drivers, definitely, and just not only for your drivers but for everybody. But getting on and off pit road was a challenge, especially under green flag conditions, and certainly, that transition between the apron and the racing surface bit a number of guys tonight as well.
Yeah, I was extremely pleased we got to the green flag pit stop point with 30 lap fuel run. But yeah, it's a tricky track. You gotta race it and learn it, just like anywhere else.
Well, I think it was a great addition to the schedule, Jimmy. I thought it provided, it's that same super speedway type racing, but there's a whole different element when you're on 1.5 miles as opposed to 2.5. Things happen much faster. Like Rick said, pit road's tougher. I thought it made it for a really interesting race and a very exciting race too.
Yeah, and them trucks add a whole nother element to it as well with the handling and stuff like that. But overall, it was very pleasing. I really liked the track. It's something a little different. It still goes with the super speedway theme, and yeah, it was good. Sebastian would win if it was a regular 1.5 miles or anything. That kid can win on anything. But I appreciate everybody coming out and racing and all the guys that competed.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up for tonight. Again, thank you all for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network broadcast of the Super Speedway Kings here in Atlanta. Please join us this Sunday for the second annual Ryan Sadusky Gobble Gobble 500, and we'll see you again next Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in.